PoliticAid is a nonpartisan political literacy app focused on educating young adults about the American government system and politics. They encourage respectful, informed political discourse and help users form their own opinions beyond social media and parental influence. Please welcome to the stage, PoliticAid.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anna.
I'm Varsha.
I'm Miles.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Gideon.
And we are PoliticAid.
Imagine this. A young voter steps into the polling booth, heart racing. They scan a list filled with unfamiliar names and confusing propositions. With only biased information from social media and family, they make their choice in uncertainty, wondering if their vote truly mattered. And they're not alone. In 2024, 27 million young voters were not involved in the democratic process. Like us, young adults around the nation are feeling uncertain and unprepared to fulfill their civic duty within our government. Misinformation spreads fast and division runs too deep, leaving too many Americans uneducated and uninvolved.
That's where PoliticAid comes in. Our app cuts through the noise, providing a clear, engaging, and unbiased way to learn about politics. We offer straightforward education, real-time news, and interactive tools such as polls, games, and short videos to make political literacy accessible and exciting. Designed for young new voters, schools, and nonpartisan platforms, PoliticAid empowers future generations to make informed decisions and take ownership of their future. Politics doesn't have to be overwhelming. With PoliticAid, we ensure voters step into the booth with confidence because every vote matters.
Here's a quick rundown of our mock-up. We went with a complete purple aesthetic to showcase the middle ground between both red and blue parties. We have anonymous polling that gives citizens a chance to freely voice their opinions, as well as current news, which remains nonpartisan and is written in a way that is understandable for a younger audience. We also have short crash course videos about our government system, as well as politically themed games, because we know the majority of our customer segment will be students, so we need to prioritize entertainment. We also have local election and candidate insights, as we believe local politics is just as important as national politics, if not more. We've reached out to Westlake School Board running candidates, including John Troy, Captain Walker, and Heather Sheffield, and we have them featured on our site. Finally, we have step-by-step voter registration information that's specific to where you live, as well as an upcoming podcast feature that is intended to expand engagement.
Our first main group of competitors are social media platforms, such as Instagram and TikTok, which are engaging to users but are often seen as biased or inaccurate. Secondly, we're also competing against polling apps, such as YouGov, which aim to predict election results but do little to educate voters on such issues. Finally, we're also competing against educational apps, such as Political Academy, which are accurate but are often seen as unengaging to users.
Our unique value proposition is our approach to political literacy and education. PoliticAid offers unbiased and straightforward news written specifically considering a younger audience. We focus on visual aesthetics along with interactive games in order to maintain user engagement. PoliticAid offers straightforward voter registration steps along with issue-based polling rather than just red versus blue distinction. We offer insight on local elections and supply users with unique information that they would otherwise have a difficult time finding due to mass media emphasis on national politics. Finally, PoliticAid provides a Meet the Candidates feature, where young voters can learn about who they are actually voting for.
Our total addressable market is 310 million people and $1.5 billion. We got this by taking the amount of USA citizens with a phone of reasonable age. Our serviceable addressable market is 47 million people and $238 million. We got this by taking the amount of 18 through 29-year-olds in the United States with a phone. Lastly, our serviceable obtainable market is 5 million people and $25 million. And we got this by narrowing it down to the amount of 18 through 29-year-olds in Texas with a phone. All of our market sizing compounds yearly due to our subscription service. We will market to our younger audiences via a point system partnership in which users can obtain points by playing games and completing courses on our app. These points can then be exchanged at local businesses who have offered a discount off their menu items in exchange for points. We also have a pilot program active with a company called First Vote that is dedicated to test our traction. Additionally, we would like to implement pop-up stands at different universities in partnership with other organizations such as campus clubs and civic groups. Lastly, due to the prevalence of podcasting in Gen Z entertainment, we would like to create our own podcast and hope it can serve as an example that political discussion can be civil.
All 6 of us fall under completely different sides of the political spectrum. Some of us lean right, and some of us lean left. But no matter how many topics we disagree on,
and there are many,
we ultimately understand that we must come together to help solve this national divide.
We reached out to partners in the Austin area, such as Dumont Creamery, a local ice cream shop in downtown Austin that helped establish our point system, which entails a 20% off menu discount items if the user gains enough points via our app. We also partnered with First Vote, a high school educational nonprofit that pushed out our pilot program to 10 different schools around Austin, including Crockett High School and ACC.
We've also met with Texas Tribune, a leading nonpartisan news source within Texas, and they now serve as a mentor and give us feedback on both our content and our platform. Further, we've also met with the UT Democratic and Republican societies, and we've used these contacts to help push out our website across UT campus.
As for our revenue, we plan on implementing a $5 yearly subscription service, specifically considering affordability for our younger audiences. As for our forecast, through the end of the calendar year, we are running a free pilot program with First Vote dedicated to test our traction. Once that ends in year 1 and 2, we will target our initial subscribers using users carried over from First Vote. Then, in year 3, we will target public schools, private schools, and universities, offering bulk discounts for students and administrators.
because we are an app-based company, our COGS are negligible. In year 1, our expenses are mostly startup with minimal SG&A. And in year 2, we undergo a notable increase in our marketing expenses. This is because we will have more social media ads to try to attract individual users for the upcoming election year, as well as amplify our marketing efforts towards schools for our planned integration in year 3. And in year 3, we do have an increased administrative cost to account for our new users. Moving on to our 3-year plan, we operate at a profit deficit during our first 2 years, but we compensate for our initial losses handily in year 3. And although our formal modeling does end after 3 years, considering the vast potential of our market, we can reach up to hundreds of millions of people. Just think about that, times 5, and we're talking about serious money.
As for our MVP, we published a website containing all the features we wanted to include on our app. In a little over a month, we got close to 5,000 views. And one of the bigger assumptions we were testing is whether people would be interested in responding to our polls. We found a way to embed them onto our site, and they were pretty successful. We got close to 500 responses with 14 polls. This user data proves the success of our pilot program with First Vote. We learned that because current news changes so rapidly, it can be difficult to maintain making these crash course videos on a regular basis. So we decided to shift a little and make more videos on evergreen topics, such as our government or voting system. This way, our videos can stay relevant and enjoyable for a longer period of time. Similarly, we've decided to incorporate an API system, or an application programming interface. This will help us filter in news articles onto our site to keep it updated and current, but will make things a lot more manageable on our end. We've met with the founder of Civitech, who specializes in app development, and he said he would love to help us integrate this into our platform if we're given the opportunity. As for pricing, it depends on the specific program that you choose. It can range from $1,000 to $20,000. Right now, we're looking at programs such as Cision and Paragon, and they both fall under the $1,000 to $2,000 range. Finally, for business model changes, we've decided to sell subscriptions to schools year 3 instead of year 1 like initially planned. However, we will begin the sales process early on throughout years 1 and 2. This is because we learned it's a pretty intensive process to get things approved by both board and administration. So to stay realistic, we've established this as a year 3 priority. As proof of concept, New York Times has successfully embedded their product within schools.
We will run our business as efficiently and productively as possible. If we win the $15,000 here tonight, here's how we will distribute it throughout our budget. We will spend $9,000 on app development. Our app will be based off of our current website and our pilot program. Additionally, we will set aside $3,000 for marketing costs and $3,000 for administrative costs such as legal work. The money we earn here tonight can help launch our dreams into reality. When projecting further goals for our company, we aspire to receive $62,000 in total investments in order to achieve our long-term goals. This is to create an elevated version of our app and expand our budget by considering other developments, like consulting fees and potential salaries. Our long-term goal is to create a lasting, well-developed platform to educate and influence for generations to come.
After 5 years, we predict we will be making enough revenue to be acquired by a larger company. We want to be acquired by a company who is also interested in our same civic mission and experienced in app management. Right now, one of the front runners is a company called the Emerson Collective, who have acquired other companies interested in politics in the past, such as The Atlantic, which is a magazine that discusses national affairs.
As a team, we are dedicated, driven, and fully committed to making political literacy accessible for all. We've worked hard to bring this idea to life, and with your support, we can take it even further. Thank you for your time today, and remember, educate today, improve tomorrow. Our contacts are posted on the slide, and we now love to answer any questions you may have.
Great presentation. I mean, really, really spot on.
Thank you.
Excellent. I don't. Politics gets controversial, so I'm going to try not to do that. How do you, in terms of content on your platform, how do you keep that from being unbiased? So where does the content come from?
Right. So the content, if we're taking it from outside sources, we're going to cross-reference with partisanship rating sources such as Ad Fontes, which can help us cross-reference our news with a credibility or a bias chart. If we're writing it ourselves, it helps that we all have very different political opinions, so it helps to maintain neutrality.
We'll also be using APIs within our app, which stands for Application Programming Integration, which is a way that we can transport articles and content from outside sources into our website or app. So for example, we would take nonpartisan articles from sources such as Texas Tribune and integrate them into our app or website, which would help keep us nonpartisan while lightening the load on us as far as writing new articles.
I agree. It was a fantastic presentation. Really well done. And my question was the same. It was like, that is a really difficult project to try to keep a news flow unbiased because there are so many biases. Even the Tribune, I think it's a fantastic organization, of course, but there are different ways to tell different stories, as you know.
Of course.
So tell me a little bit about the games on your app. I'm very interested in how you see those being used, and will you be working with social media organizations in order to distribute those games? Or talk a little bit more about the games.
So we look at what the New York Times has done primarily, and we've created our own crossword, our own connections, and our own Wordle on our website already. And we want to continue to do that because really the New York Times has engaged a lot of their younger users through these games, and we want to create a daily way for users to stay engaged, and then that also plays into the point system partnership we have planned.
And we would want to theme those politically, so the Wordle and the connections would all be politics themed rather than just, like the generic Wordle.
I have a question. So what is the number one thing that makes you guys stand out in a market that's crowded with apps, social media, and just noise around politics? If you had to pick, what would be the number one thing that would make people want to continue to invest and double down on you guys?
I think it's our age. I think that we are teenagers who are super invested in this, and I mean, we want our generation to be as invested in politics as we are. I think that that is our main draw. I think that teenagers are better at attracting teenagers than companies like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal than they are. And I think that that is truly our main unique value proposition, is that we are going after people who are our age, and we can relate to them better than people who are sitting in offices of multi-billion-dollar companies.
I also think it's really important that we all come from different political backgrounds. We all have different views, and a lot of news sources, when they're writing, they don't acknowledge that. But I think it's really important that we acknowledge that we all have different political views, and we can really check ourselves well.
I thought that was a great presentation also. Just a quick question on revenue streams. I think the focus, y'all's focus on the schools is an interesting path. What other streams did y'all look at, and why did y'all not go include them, or why did you, what other revenue streams did you look at?
So originally we were looking at the freemium model, which is where it would be free with ads, and then you could pay for a premium version. But because we need to get off the ground, you need too many people viewing it to make any sort of revenue off ads, and that was our initial plan, was to go with ads. But looking at it, we would need about 1.6 million users was the estimate before we could actually even generate meaningful revenue with ads, which is why we ended up going with the subscription model. Even though it's very annoying to have to pay a subscription and people like free stuff, we need the subscription model in order to make any sort of revenue at all.
Great presentation, guys. Very impressed. I want to piggyback off of that revenue question and talk to me a little bit about getting some of those first numbers in. I know I saw a slide where you're going to be at college campuses. You had ideas around that. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you're going to establish that revenue stream and then convert those users to renewals going forward, because it's a yearly revenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Yearly.
Yes, so I think the pilot program is probably the biggest thing for that. We've used a company called First Vote, and they are a political organization that goes into different schools around the Texas area, and they talk to young voters about getting involved in politics. And so we've really gotten a strong user base from that. The leader of the organization has partnered with us and pushed our surveys and our platform out throughout different schools in Texas. And so we believe once we get a strong enough user base, once we go to a subscription model, we can just convert those users.
Thank you.
Thank you.